just in case you thought I wasn't on here. Yeah, I can't sleep. We'll call it insomnia. I was exhausted today. We did. I helped a friend move something extremely heavy, and that wore me out a little bit. Did I put that there in the right spot? So after dinner, I had a quick nap, which was a stupid thing to do because I'm awake. It's like 2:00 in the morning. But my issue is your game because look, yes, I completed an all-terrain vehicle. Yeah, there was some pieces missing. There was an extensive, I won't say an extensive amount of pieces missing, but there's some pieces missing. One of these blue things, I only have one. The 2x2 double convex slope, whatever you want to call it. I actually didn't feel, I looked at my bin, my 45-degree white slope bin, and I didn't see one within half a second or half a minute. I said, screw it. I'm just going to put the regular 2x2 slope in there. I may put some more effort into finding the double convex or whatever you want, the 2x2 corner slope. 3 tires, I've mentioned that a few times. And window frames I have, but they have paint on them. They came in a lot, but they have paint on them. And so they're in the bin of doom. Oh well, so I grabbed 3 from my collection just to make it look pretty. The trans yellow was already there, fantastic. The top is all there. I had to grab 1 thruster from my collection. Some plates I had to grab from the collection. 2 ladders, 2 I had in the lot, and 2 I had to get from the collection. The antennas were in the lot. The 1x14, maybe 1x12. I can't remember. Technic black brick. I had to get both out of my collection. It's kind of sad. The 1x4 hinge brick was there. Both of them were there. The antennas were there, as I said. The clippies were all broken, and the vertical stud, the 1x1 with stud on the side, both broken. They're both in the bin of doom. So I had to grab those from my collection. The trans red from the collection, my collection. The trans red round from my collection. But the green, trans green, were there. So, well, whatever. In the end, I always liked the set. I remember, and I probably mentioned this during the review that I did way back when, if you want to go find it. I did not buy the set off the shelf, but I saw it and I wanted it. I just never got around to buying it. My friend Jeff had one, not Jeff here, who probably also had one, but my friend Jeff, when I was growing up, had one. And when I went over to his place, played with it all the time. I rebuilt it lots of times. It's for and this is what I want to talk about when I was building this thing just now. I'm remembering going over to Jeff's place to build this thing because he had it. I'm going to say, so the original 3-digit classic space sets, the 442 or whatever, the 92, the 9200s and whatever, the 4400, 440 and 90, 894s, all those ones, not 894, forget it, 886. The 3-digit numbers where they duplicated depending on what continent you're on and what country you're in, were utterly my personal favorite classic space sets, period. I mean, the 924, the 928, the 926 command center, the 918, my favorite classic space set, period. That's my first. But I'm going to say there is some charm above the rest of the charm. When 4-digit sets were initially released, I think 1980, 1981. I don't know what year this thing came out. But when the 4-digit sets came out, 6927, I think this is, I didn't look it up. This was released substantially a bunch of years before these guys were released. This is the first gen 4-digit classic space sets. The Starfleet Voyager, this guy, the 6880, the 688 1, or the 6890, I mean, the white and blue and trans dark blue, which kind of felt into line with this. This was kind of a hybrid between the old blue, gray, and trans yellow to white, blue, and trans dark blue. In that year, the little spaceship was released with the white, blue, and trans dark blue. 6890, which I have 17 or 19 of. Sometimes I weep. But anyway, that first year of 4-digit sets is when I really started buying, because I got the 6890, I got the 6824. I can't remember the shuttle. My favorite talked about that, which is up there somewhere. And a few others, the 6880, wonderful. So it might have been 1982 because that's when the yellow minifig was released. So that's the year. They were more quaint, quote unquote quaint, than subsequent years. They used more basic brick than subsequent years. Like, you look at the difference between just these guys, the Gamma 5 versus this guy, and they're in the same range of 692 something. I can't remember now what this guy is and what this guy is, but they're in the same size, quote unquote. I think this one was slightly bigger, but this thing has a lot more, quote unquote, modified, well, not even quote, actual modified pieces in it than this guy. And I mean, I love this guy. I mentioned it numerous times. One of my favorites. But the original initial, when I was building them, I remember that they had a lot of plates, a lot of basic plates. This thing's constantly falling off. I have to probably fix that. And a lot of basic slopes, which is how they built these things, and ladders and clippies and these modified 1x1s with the circle on the side, the side. Other than that, not too many modified bricks or modified plates. Any 2x2 bracket that put the thrusters on. Just building on what they released in 1978, which didn't have the clippies. I don't remember the clippies being anywhere in 1978 sets, or the studs on the side. I don't remember that. That came out slightly later, because the Galaxy Explorer, the 924, the 918 don't have any of this stuff. They just have the wing plates and blah, blah. And then there was a radical leap from this year, well, quote unquote, this year, to the next couple of years in classic space, where basically there's no basic or very little basic pieces in these sets. I mean, I mentioned there's a 2x4 gray brick in here, but to find a 2x any brick in any set after 1982 was, I won't say extraordinary, but it's pretty rare. 1x bricks, sure, because you have to fill in the gaps and stuff. But 2x bricks, very, very rare. Not that they are there, but they're very, very rare. But a lot of modified plates, a lot of modified wing plates, a lot of these fancy little front piece wing plates came out. Blah blah. These 8x8 wing plates came out. These things came out. Like, I mean, look at this. Like, yes, it does. I think this thing's got to be cracked. It is too. I'll go find a different one. I love these things, but they're built to fill in a void somewhere on whatever ship they're on to make it look really, really cool with one piece or two pieces, as the case may be. Not too many times. I can't think of one set where you only got one. They came in even numbers. But so you look at this compared to this. This has a lot of basic brick and a lot of basic plate, and this one does not. And this one does have basic brick and plate, but not in the percentage that this one has. And so when I was putting this together and finding all the pieces that I needed for it, I was realizing once again, the charm of basic brick building, and yet still, when you're done, you have something that looks really cool, but it doesn't have a ton of modified stuff in it. And so there's a place, and for me, this is just for me, it doesn't have to be for anyone else. For me, there's a place for both in this hobby. And again, you go on to the classic space groups, I removed myself from one lately, but that's just for personal reasons. You go into the classic space groups, there's plethora of them, and you see what the people are still building with the idea of classic space in mind, either the theme or the colors or whatever, and they're just coming up with these absolutely gorgeous creations, just fantastically awesome creations, and they use all the pieces, all the modified bricks, all the modified plates, the newest pieces that are coming out today, and uses pieces from 50 years ago, and they're making these ultimately, and I'm just drooling because of how gorgeous they are. And there's a place for that. And then there's a place for, hey, I'm just going to use basic brick, quote unquote, basic brick and basic plates to build something. Because this thing, for me, to this day, this thing has just as much charm and fun and looks as it did back in 1982. It does. I'm looking at it right now and I said, woohoo, I got another one. I was just excited to build it. I was like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. And so I'm very appreciative of all types of building methods, including, and again, the classic space. Some kid built a little spaceship in the style of 1978. Magnifico. And then they go, and somebody else builds up a spaceship with all the modern day pieces, and also fantastic. I happen to love it all. And when I'm building an old set like this, quote unquote old, I was 12. A little older. But when this set was, when I first built it and when I built it now, I have the same excitement and appreciation and love, and this is so awesome idea. And it was completely misnamed. Absolutely. I think I talked about that in my review. The all-terrain vehicle, no. This thing will not ride over a landing plate. Now the 6950 and the uranium search vehicle will, but this thing will not run over one of those Lego Creator plates. But in the end, it's perfectly fun. And I also know from history, there's something on there, and all these news groups and all these different Lego groups, classic space groups, that this is one of the sets that people will modify to custom tailor to whatever Lego mock display that they're working on. Some people have completely enclosed the front cockpit. Fantastic. They put different modules in the back. Fantastic. They made it bigger. Fantastic. They made it smaller. Fantastic. The all-terrain vehicle is one of those sets that you can see that it was a base of an idea that they built on to make something that fits into whatever they're building. And I love it. I'm there for it 100%. And so it just quote unquote completely customizable. Excuse me, but also like just build different modules to go in here. This is just the mobile tracking station or whatever, portable operation center. They'll build whatever else, and this thing can pick it up and drive it around. That's the fun part about this set, is that you can swap out the modules that are in the back and just carry them around, and that's fantastic. And people have done that. So I'm happy I rebuilt it. I used, again, quote unquote, the piece. Well, I have to stop saying that. I used the pieces from the lot that I got, but the white plates that were in that lot were very, very yellowed. And so I'm looking at it now, and I'm going, I may replace the yellowed white pieces that were in the lot that we got with better pieces. Oh, I got something in my eye. So anyway, that's it. That's 3 Reconstitution class. Sorry for doing this on air. My Reconstitution class from the August 2023 lot that we got from Value Village the other day. Set number 3, and besides the 2x2 double sloped bricks, it's 100% there, and I'm happy it is. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it together. Again, I will not even hazard a guess. I have to stop saying this. It's not bragging. It's not meant to be bragging. It's just more of an FYI. I would not be able to tell you right now how many of these I actually have built that are in. One's in the layout. You'll see it every time in the layout. It's the one vehicle that's wider than 4 wide, that rides on wheels, that's in the layout, because I use it to bring it over to whatever those guys are doing in the corner, whether they're launching a rocket ship or doing the geological surveys. It changes. I try to change it every show, but this is the one consistent vehicle in that zone, because it has the mobile station. So it adds to the idea, like they're doing something, right? And if you're gonna be mining for mineral resources, or you're gonna be launching a rocket, you need a mobile operation center. And so this is what the all-terrain vehicle does for me. So it is in I have a copy in my fun drawer with all my other vehicles and all my little spaceships, whatever. I make sure it shows up in every layout, because again, it is one of those sets that has a unique memory for me. It's one of the few sets that I didn't have, that I really wanted, that I didn't get, nor did I put it together for the longest time. Again, unlike the Robot Command Center, which I did not get on purpose, because I didn't like it on purpose. I looked at the picture, not for me, on purpose. This one I really wanted, and actually so here's a quick story, and I don't think I said this before. There was a store at Eastgate, and I cannot remember the name of the store. It was not like Eaton's. It was one of the smaller stores at Eastgate. It wasn't Leisure Center or Leisure, whatever. They had a Leisure, as soon as you came in the entrance, that was right on the corner. There was a Leisure store that you could buy HO scale cars and engines and track and hobby supplies and balsa wood and dowels. You went in there for that kind of stuff. It has Leisure World, something like that. It was almost like the hobby shop that was in Grimsby up until like maybe 15 years ago. But it had HO scale, like a whole section of HO stuff, buildings and train and track and transformers and switches and all that stuff. But it also had all the other hobby stuff that was there. That's not where they didn't have any Lego. They never had Lego there. But I was down the hall from there, and you walked in there, and I remember the actual store was dark in color, but the lights were kind of a neon in color, and so it kind of gave it a kind of a disco vibe. Maybe we're talking 70s and early 80s, and it had so many fantastic toys and trinkets that you could buy. It wasn't the It store, but and in the back, so you step there's a step that you went up, and there was a whole U-shaped shelf area of Lego sets. And I went in there one time, and this set was there, and I think this set had a flap on it, so you could open it up and you could see the contents inside. I think I'm remembering. I may be misremembering that, because this is where I'm going with this. The box was opened a little bit, and there was pieces on the floor on top of the Berber carpet from that specific box of this specific set. I remember this because I wanted this set, and I was going to buy that set when I was there, but it was the only one that was on the shelf. And there was pieces on the floor, and me being the Boy Scout that I am, this is who I am to this day. I brought the box and the pieces I found on the floor up to the counter and gave it to the person behind the counter, saying this was an open box. Either the plastic was punctured, or maybe the flap end was off, and they didn't put these things in baggies back then, by the way, just in case you youngins don't know. Back in the day, when you bought a Lego box, the Lego pieces were loose inside. They weren't in baggies, sealed baggies. Not at all. This is a cardboard box. Sometimes they had an inlay tray, and you can find those on the eBays and stuff like that. And people, I got a 6990 monorail with the inlay, which had some sort of vacuum formed clear plastic where you could have minifigs and track and whatever. Castles did it a lot, where you have the horses. Like, you have the really cool pieces up front and all the loose pieces behind it. But this box was just loose pieces. and there was a half a dozen pieces on the floor. I picked them up and I carried them counter without one thought of putting in my pocket, because that would be wrong. Boy Scout. And I carried it up to the counter, and it's the only one they had. I asked, no, she said, we don't have any out back. Whatever's in the store is on the shelves. Thank you for bringing this to us, and blah, blah, blah. So I walked out of the store without buying it. I remember that to this day. I remember this specific set because I wanted it. Jeff had it. I wanted it. I saved up my gas mowing money and my grass mowing my grass mowing money and fruit picking money and whatever chores money I had to walk or drive. I think it was my mom at the time, but she was off shopping at the Eaton's, whatever. And I went in there and I couldn't buy it. And then life happened and it never went back. And I never bought it. So, this one actually has more than just his general, I love classic space, even since I was a kid. This one has a specific story. That was one of them. And since it has two stories, because my friend Jeff, and going over his place, this specific set has two distinctly fantastic memories behind it. And I will say I never got around to building one. I know I built one pre-internet. I know that when I had the layout on the ping pong table when I lived with my buddies in the house at the pit, we called it, and I had the entire basement as my bedroom, which is fantastic. And they had an old beat up ping pong table in the basement that nobody played ping pong on, so I had made a whole classic space layout on it with all the monorail track that I had and whatever else. This was there. I had built it by then, and I will not remember how I got the instructions for it because I never bought it new, and there was no internet. I honestly cannot remember how probably in one of my used lots the instructions came with it. So I got one in a used lot, somewhere between 12 and 22. Probably the beer money from high school. We'll give you beer money for your Lego. It's a great ad. It worked fantastically well. I had a life. So, I had a life that I won't say revolves around this stuff, but I had a life that really includes this stuff, and it always made me happy. So anyway, very, very happy that I reconstituted this one. I did that one first because I thought it'd be easier than the one I'm going to tackle next, but I'm not going to do it now because I am exhausted. Maybe I'll sleep now. But I'm glad I did it. And I would hazard a guess, including the one that's in the layout, maybe 4, possibly 5 now, which isn't a huge number. Like, I won't tell you how many 689Os I have or 688Os I have. I think those are the most numerous ones that I've actually built and put in bags. Now, I could build, I don't know how many 886s. Anybody with any kind of collection like mine can build a gabillion 886s. I don't even consider 886 is just a Galaxy Explorer vehicle without an antenna. So what's the point? They use it twice. I think they use it 3 times. I think there's another, the command center, the little vehicle in the command center, I think is an 886. I have to go look it up now. But the 886 that I absolutely adore is the one that Derek built, that one that's 12 times bigger. And he brought it down to Brickfest 2004. And he brought it to a couple of our shows back in the day. And then he made a 3/4 size one that was also very, very good. But anyway, 24 minutes worth of Dave stories. That's it. That's all. I'm going to bed. It's past 2 a.m. My nap I should not have had. Still love that one. But that's 3. So reconstituted 3 sets from this collection so far. We did figure out $70, $72, I think, $72. 6 bags times $12 a piece, minus 20%. I don't know what that is. I'm far too tired to even try to do the math, and I wouldn't be able to do the math in the best of days. 20% off. I could probably sell one of these and recoup that money. But, if a friend wants one, drop me a line. Because again, I have copies of all these. These are just adding because I wanted to do this Reconstitution thing, and I still have classic space. I do have at least one more classic space set to build, and I'm gonna see what pieces are left to see if I want to build more. Like there is this. I don't know what this is from, but there isn't much more white. That's classic space. So, you know, it is what it is. But the last one I'm going to be rebuilding is going to be a nice one. And then I'm going to see what pieces are left in these bins to figure out what else I can build. I'm thinking it's going to be a couple small ones. I'm hoping right now, maybe a 3-digit, because again, we have the yellow windscreen, the trans yellow windscreen. And I do have a lot of these guys in here, so it could, but there's not nearly. And I have this guy too, right? So this tells me that this is 918, 924, 928, and because the 1x6 yellow trans yellow brick that we have, but there's only one. It's 924 or 928, and I think the 924 had 1x6. See, this is what happens when you get tired. But I got a lot of these swing plates, but I don't have hardly any 6x gray brick. So a 924 and a 928 have a plethora of 6x brick. I'm not even going to bother with the beta one. I mentioned that before. There's not hardly any pieces. I mean, this could be from the beta one, but I don't have any 4x8. Maybe some of those are broken 4x8 plates. So I that's what I don't know if I said this, and this I'm gonna get this to 30 minutes. I don't know if I said that. I'm rambling because I'm tired. When I did the beta 1 review, that spaceship's awesome. The little open cockpit, just the wings and the big rocket thrusters, the same style that came in the X1. That ship is awesome. I really like that ship, considering how basic it is. Because it's just like 2 4x8 plates and then the wing plates on it, and then the 2 huge rocket thrusters on it, and then like the 2 3x4 slope with the classic space pattern on it. I think that's in there, and then but it's the simplicity of that thing, and yet how fantastic it looks. It looks like they just took an X1 and they made it bigger. So an X1 is a fantastic set, by the way. That's also a fantastic set, but I'm glad they reused that entire concept from cone to rocket thruster. The exact same setup, basically the configuration on both those sets, because I think it's great. And then they color coded the one in the beta 1. So I love that, but I don't think I don't know. We'll find out. I will look at it. I am now 100% rambling, so I am going to cut this off. I am happy I got that in there. It has nothing to do with classic space, but an original 24 tooth gear from the original Technic sets. I don't know what Technic set was in here, but there was one Technic set that's in here. I'm not going to bother trying to figure it out because there's hardly any pieces to it. So that's it. Say goodnight, Gracie. You guys take care. Stay safe. Rest in peace, Bob Barker. You're fantastic guy to grow up with, and I'm not going to start talking about it. You guys all stay safe. Talk to you soon.